Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Read Aloud lesson as we are all getting settled in our seat, ready to go. We are so excited that you are here joining us. Who is this voice talking to you? I am Emily Fitzpatrick. I'm here from the Cobblestone Collective, and I am so excited to introduce these other two fabulous ladies here on the live stream with me. But before we do that, I'm going to kind of leave them in the background for 2 seconds as we go over a few housekeeping pieces. So the very first one is, remember, we are on YouTube right now, which means you can pause, rewind, and replay the entire lesson. So if something's going too fast, if your Wi-Fi glitches for a moment and something seems weird, or you maybe just need to take a really quick break, you can just hit that pause button. If you want to watch something again, that's where you can go and rewind. And then, of course, we are here. You can replay this one as many times as you would like. We also want to make sure you have access to our form because, as you may notice, you can hear and see all three of us, but we can't hear or see you. So open up that new tab, and where you're going to go is thecc.page/STEAM5A. That's what you're going to type up into your URL bar where you usually type your google.com or your twitter.com or your search. All of that, you're going to type it up there at the top. You're going to go thecc.page/STEAM5A, and you're going to see a form. It's going to give you a chance to put your first name only and the answer to any question that we may have. And we're going to get things started with, I think, a pretty relevant question to our Read Aloud lesson here is using that form, everyone. Let us know what the title of your favorite book is. Using that form, let us know what the title of your favorite book is. And I have about probably like 1 minute to do some awesome shout outs. I can see so many students already using that form. You all are rock stars. We've got Sean, we've got Hayden, we've got Jacob and Dylan, we've got Amira and Eric and Shelby. Let's see if here comes some of their favorite books. We've got Harry Potter. Ooh, lots of fans of Harry Potter. I am also a fan of Harry Potter. Ooh, we have Nancy Drew. Serene likes Upside Down Magic. We have Pal, who likes the Harry Potter series. Jacob, who likes Green Eggs and Ham. Jonah, who likes the Hunger Games. Asha's favorite is Anne Frank. We have Michaela here and Kevin. We have Chloe, who likes Dogman. We have Abby, who likes Matilda. So many different kinds of books shared in our favorite books. And that's going to be kind of a big topic here with these fabulous ladies. We are going to hang out with both Sandy and Komal, and I am so excited to pass the mic to Sandy as we start our read aloud. Hello, Sandy.
Hello, and we hope that everybody's settled in, maybe munching on a little bit of lunch after the super busy morning and engaging morning that we hope that you've had with all of the Googlers. So I just wanted to quick bring up one of my favorite books, which was The Giving Tree. I always loved this, and when you asked the question, I was able to pull it right off my bookshelf. So here it is. So teachers, students, parents, my name is Sandy Curry, and I'm the STEM Program Manager for Google Canada. After having been in education formally for 30 years, I've had the pleasure to join Google. And just before I introduce you to Komal, and I know Komal will give us a little wave there, shortly after I started at Google, I had the great pleasure of bumping in literally into Komal at one of our micro kitchens. And she was coming back. She had just had her second child, and she was coming to join an event at Google. And we got chatting, and she told me about this book that she'd written. And so I was trying to understand, like, is she a Googler? Is she a computer scientist? Is she a manager? Is she an author? Like, how can she do both? And I came to understand that Google had this great thing called 20% time, where Googlers could use that time to work on a passion project, sort of like a genius hour students that some of us have a chance to do at our schools. And with that 20% time, Komal wrote this great book, Ara the Star Engineer, and she and I have connected many times working to get this books into the hands of as many students around the world as possible. And I couldn't be more proud and more happy to introduce her to you today. So without further ado from me, I would like to introduce you to Komal Singh.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure being here today with all of you. Thank you, Emily and Sandy, for the great introduction. So, as you all know, my name is Komal Singh, and I'm the author of this picture book, Ara the Star Engineer. I am myself a software engineer by background, and I've been working at Google for about 5 years now. I work as what's called an engineering program manager, and I work on teams such as the ads team or the cloud team. So these are certain product areas within Google, and I'm a program manager for cloud right now. So I do have two children. I have a girl who is 7 years old and I have a boy who is 3 years old. I wanted to share with you my motivation for writing this book before we actually go into the book reading itself. So, being a mom of two kids, I'm always looking for books that introduce science, technology, engineering, and math to children. And being a new mom, I just was not able to find any book that would actually teach children about engineering or computer science, but in a fun and a whimsical manner. And, one day it so happened that my daughter, who was 4 years old at that time, said to me, "Oh, Mama, all engineers are boys." And that's because she does not see enough people on TV or in books or in real life interactions who are engineers. When she comes to my work, she sees that most people around me are men who are engineers. We do have women. We do have women who are engineers, but they're far and few. And so that really bumped me out, that a child, and especially a girl, should think that engineers are boys. So I wanted to do something to change that perception for her and for all children. And I wanted to write a book, a children's book that showcased the world of computer science and engineering, but also showed the real people, the real women who work behind the scenes to bring to your world things such as Google Chrome or even like voice over IP. That is what you use to talk on the internet. So that's what this book does. It showcases the story of a young girl called Ara who goes to a fantastical land called Innovation Plex, where she meets real life superheroes. And these superheroes are people who build amazing things like Google Chrome that you use every day. And she interacts with these superheroes to solve a big problem that she has in her head. And that problem is to count all the stars in the sky. It may be possible, it may not be possible, we don't know. We'll find out through this book. So that was the reason I wrote the book. I wanted you all to experience a little bit of computer science, and I wanted you all to see real life women superheroes that are featured in the book. And Ara is this girl who is sort of the protagonist, and this is her little robot droid called Didi, and then they go on to solve many different problems. So we'll do the read aloud, and I'm happy to take any questions that you have after the read aloud. As well, I would love to show you some more information about how a book gets made, if you're curious about that. So I can share a little bit more about how illustrations happen, how do you brainstorm titles for books, and stuff like that. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Komal, I just wanted to pull out of the input from our audience that someone said that their best friend's name is Komal. And so I think that's nice that already our audience is having a chance to connect with you and obviously with the story that you're going to share, but lots of lovely comments about how long did it take you to write the book? And do you think that I could ever write a book? And how could I get into computer science? So I just love that our audience is starting to connect. We're excited to hear the story.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for all your excitement. Yes, my name is Komal. And you know what? While we're talking about names, I'll tell you a really cool thing about the name Ara. The name Ara is a palindrome. And you know what a palindrome is? It is something that's reads the same from left to right and right to left. So that's called a palindrome. So Ara is a very simple palindrome, but think about the fact, what if you have a big name that has 100 alphabets in it? How do you calculate whether it's a palindrome or not? So that's where computer science comes in. That's where algorithm comes in to compute whether a 100-letter name is a palindrome or not. And the other cool fact about the name Ara is that it is inspired by the name Ada Lovelace. And Ada was the first woman programmer in the world. Actually, not just woman programmer, she was the very first coder or very first programmer in the world. And she's also called the mother of computing or mother of computer science. And her name was Ada Lovelace. And she wrote the very first program about 150 years ago. So that's another cool fact about names, isn't it? All right, so let's get going.
And the kids are putting in the form, Komal. They are so excited to hear the story. So I think that we've created a little suspense, a little excitement, and we can't wait.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hear the story of Ara the Star Engineer. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the book reading of Ara the Star Engineer. My name is Komal Singh, and I'm the author of this picture book. I'm very excited to be doing this reading with you today because it's actually the very first time that we're reading the book, not just with me as the author, but with all of the amazing superheroes who are featured as characters in the book. That's Kripa, the prolific problem solver, Parisa, who is the intrepid innovator, Diane, the code commander, and Marion, the tenacious troubleshooter. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that there is a free ebook available on Google Play Books. So if you want, go right ahead and grab that ebook. Or if you just want to grab your physical copy, feel free to do that as well. All right, then let's get started. Ara the Star Engineer by Komal Singh and other thinkers and tinkerers at Google. Illustrations by Ipek Konak. Hello world, I am Ara, and this is my assistant Didi. We both love to learn about big numbers. Did you know there is a number with 100 zeros in it? It's called Google. Google was named by a 9-year-old kid. Did you know that my name Ara is also the name of a constellation with 7 stars? But there are way more than 7 stars out there. I wonder how many? A zillion, a gazillion, a Google? Let's find out. To count such a big number of stars very fast, I'll need the help of a computer. Like you, Didi. How do I program you to count stars? Oh, of course. Didi was invented by engineer superheroes at Innovationplex. I bet they would love to help us. Okay, Didi, let's go to the Plex.
The first person I meet is Kripa, the prolific problem solver. She's in the data center surrounded by huge computers and many screens that show some kind of scary crisis. Her team is panicking, but she is calm. How do you figure out the problem and keep thousands of computers running? Ara asks. Well, let's analyze, says Kripa. Any big problem can be solved with a plan. Each of these screens gives us a peek into the larger problem. You look at each screen one at a time, and you work on one small part of the problem one at a time. The big problem is solved, and it doesn't seem so scary anymore. Aha! I get it. I can come up with my own plan. I can break down the big problem of counting so many stars by galaxies and then count them one galaxy at a time. I admire your courage, Ara, to solve such a big problem, says Kripa. Good luck.
Next, we meet Parisa, the intrepid innovator. She's in the Ideas Lab, pondering big problems. What makes you an innovator? I quiz her excitedly. Parisa smiles. I create new solutions that make computers solve big problems. Great! I have a plan for counting stars, but I still have so many questions. Let's brainstorm, says Parisa. You can start by writing an algorithm. Algorithm? That's a big word. Parisa hands me a cupcake. It's just a fancy name for a recipe. Like a recipe, an algorithm is a set of step-by-step instructions to get something done. We brainstorm together and come up with a recipe, an algorithm, for my plan. Aha! I'm impressed by your creativity, Ara, in creating an algorithm all on your own, says Parisa. But how will Didi understand a brand new algorithm? Didi has only been programmed to do easy tasks. Parisa smiles. For that, you need to turn your algorithm into code.
Next, we meet Diane, the code commander. She's in the coding pods directing a fleet of computers. Can you actually command computers? I asked her curiously. I sure can, Diane says, by writing code. Just as people speak and write in different languages, we use coding languages to communicate with computers. That's what I need to do, I say. I have an algorithm, and now I need to code it. Let's program, says Diane. We jump into coding basics. It's tricky, but fun. Aha! At last, we have robust code to communicate my algorithm to Didi. I love your eagerness to code, Ara, says Diane. This gives you the power to communicate with any computer. I feel proud. And now I am ready to count the stars. Beep. Okay, Didi, let's launch. Ready, set, go. Didi starts to count. Beep. Displays a number. Beep, beep, but stops. Oh no, Didi has an error. I slump down. I'm so disappointed. Engineering something new is tough, I say to Didi. I don't think I can do it. Beep, beep. You're right, Didi. I'm a problem solver. I won't give up.
So we go to meet Marion, the tenacious troubleshooter. She's in the X space, designing and fixing all sorts of machines. Didi has an error and can't count enough stars. Can you help us? I ask her hopefully. Absolutely, answers Marion. Let's improve, Didi. She takes a closer look. It looks like Didi needs more computing power. She hands me a processor and a memory chip. Haha! Together, we successfully troubleshoot Didi. I really like your spirit of collaboration, Ara, Marion proclaims. Working as a team with so many engineers has helped you fix problems faster.
Okay, Didi, let's launch version 2. We are now ready to count the stars. Ready, set, go. Whoa, what a huge number of stars. Even more than a Google. Success. Just as all the engineers cheer us, I share another discovery with everyone. I know an amazing algorithm to solve any problem. Courage, creativity, code, and collaboration. Right, Didi? Ara, you are a star engineer. Beep. The end. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We hope you had a good time. And may I remind you that there is a website for the book, that's arastarengineer.com, from where you can download a number of activities that you can do on your own, with your parents, with your teachers. And then in case you were curious, what you see behind me is all the translations or publications of the book around the globe. There are many more on the way in the next few years, so look out for them. Thanks everyone, take care, bye-bye.
Awesome, Komal. Thank you so much for that read aloud. And just before we go any further, I'd like to do a couple of shout outs. Would that be okay, Komal?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Caleb's been dying for us to do a shout out. So shout out to you. Olivia, a shout out. Alicia, Darshane, Nick, Sylvia, Jeff G, Beckett, Owen, Sophia, Seth, Ella, Harris, all of you, hello. People are loving your book, Komal. People have commented on your necklace. People have commented on your beautiful illustrations. I heard a comment about the elephant that's over your left shoulder. And we have students wondering, they have lots of questions. I'm not sure if we're going to do a little Q&A, but certainly there's lots of questions happening here from our participants.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and for, hanging for the reading. Yes, I'm happy to take any questions. Let's do it.
All right. So Liam, a shout out to you. Noelle, shout out to you. So how long did it take you to write the book?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you see, I'm not an author by profession, and I bet the real published authors or who've been published for a while do it much faster. For me, it was my very first time writing a book. So it took me about 6 months to come up with the very initial script. And then I would say it took another 2 to 3 months to work with my editor to actually refine and iterate on the script. So I would say it took me about 6-ish months or so to actually come up from idea to the final script. And then the illustrations, which are done by a person called İpek Konak, who actually lives in Turkey, took another, I would say, 6 to 8 months. So it takes at minimum about a year, you could say year to year and a half, to create a children's book. Awesome. And the beauty of it is when you read it, it looks so simple and it seems like, oh, I could have written that book, right? So that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for simplicity. And once we can get to a state where people think, oh, I could have written such a book, that means our job is done. But to create that simplicity, there is a lot of complex behind the scenes stuff that happens.
I love that, Komal. And so Nathan wants us to do a shout out to Mrs. Ritchie's class. So shout out to you. Lots of folks saying they love the story and wondering, Komal, if you're going to write any other books.
Oh, yes, I am going to write 2 more books. So this was book number 1, which is Ara the Star Engineer. This came out about 2 years ago. And now the book sequel, which is called Ara the Dream Innovator, comes out this September. And you know what? I'm going to take the liberty. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to take the liberty of giving you a sneak peek of the next book. This is called an advanced copy. It is not published yet. This is a sneak peek, and you will see this published or released this September. It will be available like the first book in any bookstore. So it will be in Chapters or your local bookstores, and it will be on Amazon as well.
Love that, Komal. And I did have a teacher asking, or I think it's a teacher, what was the website again that you gave where you said that there were activities that folks could access for free?
Yes. So the website is arastarengineer.com.
Perfect. So Ara the Star Engineer.com. And one other question, Komal, maybe this is just clarification. Those 4 women that we're helping to read the story in the Read Aloud, are they all Googlers?
Yes, they are all Googlers. And, like I was trying to tell you, I wanted to show real life women engineers, and they're all real life women engineers. And they've done amazing things in terms of inventing and creating software and technologies. And as you will see, they're all from very different cultural backgrounds. So I wanted to show the diversity in tech and bring that to you, because I wanted to show you that, people who do great things in life look just like you. They come from backgrounds just like you. So if they can do it, you can do it too. So yes, some of them have invented actually Google Chrome, or they're responsible for making sure Chrome is not hacked by black hackers. One of them has 200 patents in her name in the field of wireless communication. So yeah, really, really amazing people.
Wow. And Komal, are you still a software developer?
So I'm a software developer by background. I worked as a software engineer for many years. Now I work officially as what's called a program manager. So my official title is not a software developer, but I do, write code every now and then. That's not my primary role, though.
All right. Is the book translated into Punjabi?
Oh, I wish, because I am Punjabi by my upbringing. It's not translated in Punjabi yet. It is translated in 10 to 12 other languages, and you can see more about those publications on the book's website.
Okay.
Oh, and Sandy, I'm going to jump in because I saw Harris's question and it got me thinking. Komal, when you got your book in your hands the first time, who did you share it with first? Who did you show first?
Yeah, lovely question. I showed it to my two little kids. Actually helped me unbox when the boxes arrived. So they helped me open it and look at it. And the first copy I signed for my daughter and my son.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Big shout out to Ms. Bedard's class, and Mrs. Pearson's class, Mrs. Marshall's class, Mrs. Zoldo's class. I just want to, maybe we're looking at soon wrapping up. Komal, if we have young students watching right now, but maybe girls in particular, who are interested maybe someday making their way into software developing or computer science or maybe the Googles of the world, what would you recommend for them to be thinking about now when they're in grades sort of 3 to 6?
Yeah, so I grew up in a different country. I grew up in India, and when I was young, we didn't have things like video games or programming portals that you have these days, and I couldn't get to do any of that stuff. But I feel like you all have such great opportunities now. So if you're interested in exploring computer science, I would actually do things like Scratch Junior, or even Scratch, which is a visual blocks-based coding portal, right? And Google has a curriculum called and Sandy would know about this a lot more than I do, CS First, which is Google's curriculum that's based on Scratch in order to get yourself interested in things like logical flow of control, or what do loops mean. So I would highly suggest that. I used to read a lot of science fiction, so and that actually got me interested in the world of logic quite a bit. And computer science is nothing but applied logic. So read science fiction books if you like. Do some video games. Do some online coding, and just be open to experimenting. This is the biggest thing that I tell everybody: be open to experimenting. Be open to failing, and then starting all over again. So don't think that once you start coding, you will get it right the very first time. You will not. But be okay to make that mistake, and be okay to come back and do it again. So keep trying.
Komal, thank you so much. That's a great answer. Boys and girls, I like to think of it as you may not be there yet, right? It's a 3-letter word, yet. You keep trying, you keep taking a step, you keep getting messy, but you will get there. So you may not be there yet, but you have the opportunity. So Komal, a round of applause to you for sharing your book with us and for sharing it with the world. Thank you very much. I'll just pass over to Emily so we can wrap our session up. Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your next lesson.